Hi everyone, some people requested a follow-up video on the FastHTML video. The question was if it is possible to integrate FastHTML into FastAPI. If you should do that is another question, but hey, some people also would eat something like this, so why not mix two frameworks? I'm gonna show you multiple ways to do it. If you don't know FastHTML yet, please watch the introduction first. I also got a complete crash course about FastAPI if you're interested in that. Okay, I'm now in VS Code and here you will find multiple files. So the interesting files for this video are FastAPI_wrong.py and FastAPI_better.py. We will integrate a copy of the HTTP X app. This is a simple to-do app. As you can see, you can add to-dos and these will be rendered dynamically making use of HTMX, which is integrated into FastHTML. So how can we do that with FastAPI? First, we're gonna import the HTML response class from FastAPI and gonna create our API instance. We're gonna create an empty task list for our to-dos, and then we're gonna create our first endpoint. This is where we're gonna create our form, the same as we did in the HTMX app.py. We're also gonna render a list. Here we've got UL, LI, A tags, so everything that we need to create an unordered list, which has got li elements and anchor tags. Here we can see that we got hrefs to delete to-dos and so on and so on. So again, this is nothing really new, but the only thing to keep in mind is the following here. So we create one div at the end and return a single div from an endpoint, but the important part is this. You need to use the toXML function to return the content correctly, otherwise this will look kind of strange. At the end, you have to use the HTML response from FastAPI to actually render HTML. We then again use this task list partial function. So again, this is the same like here to render the UL and the tasks that we have in our, let's say, in-memory database dynamically. And then we're gonna add task endpoint. Again, we will use the HTML response class here, and as content, we will use the task list partial function, call it here, and return the output of that. For the delete process, we do exactly the same. We remove the task here with the pop function, where we pass the index to remove the element from the to-do list that we clicked on. And then at the end, we just gonna use UBI-corn to run our server. So we can just use Python FastAPI_wrong.py. So then we have to visit localhost port 8000. And now we can see that our to-do app is rendered correctly. And if we add a new task here, then this happens. We get redirected to add task. And we also see the list in this kind of weird form. So this does not really work. This is not what we want. We can go back, even refresh the website, and can see that now we can see our to-do list and even we can delete it. But again, we get redirected here to delete, and now we deleted the task with index 0. Okay, so this is not what we want. I'm gonna show you a better approach. So if I would have to do it, I would do it in this way. Please go to FastAPI_better.py, and first we're gonna import a few classes like FastAPI, the request class, response class, and also important, the HTTPX module, which is in a standard library, and this allows us to create a so-called client. That client is able to make HTTP requests. I'm gonna show you how we can use it and how the pattern is called. So first we're gonna create some dummy routes. These are just for demonstration purposes. So we're gonna create an actual API, and we're also gonna add a route. And here you can see this is / path and path. So we're gonna provide a wildcard path here and allow all methods, all HTTP methods that are important: get, post, put, and delete. And we're gonna use that wildcard path and just take it and route it to another application which is running on port 5001. So we actually use the application here, the HTTPX app.py, and gonna use our FastAPI server as so-called proxy to take every request on port 8000 and forward it to port 5001. So this is called a proxy pattern. So we extract the headers and also the request body and just forward it. For this, we're gonna use the async client, from the HTTPX module. So if we've got a get method, then we will use the get method of the client, pass in the URL and also the headers. Post methods have got not only headers, but also normally contain data. The same applies here for put and also for delete. Okay, and then we're gonna get a response from port 5001 and that path. So we're just gonna take that and return it. And that's all what we're gonna do in this service. At the end, we're just gonna use UBI icon run the application, and now we run it on port 8000. So let's open another terminal and run Python htmx app.py. This application is now running on port 5001. And if we run Python and then FastAPI _ beta.py, we can see that we are now running our application on port 8000. And if we refresh the website, then we can see that this is the application, which is actually running on port 5001, but we made a GET request on the server. So we get everything here. And now we can just add a to-do. And as you can see, the website does not make a full refresh, but we have this very nice HTMX functionality that actually only the elements on the website that have to change actually change and not make a full refresh of the website. So if we go to /docs, we can also see that we've got this route and we can make a GET request and get the message here from our routes. So we got our HTMX app with FastHTML and extended it with FastAPI by providing some routes. And this is how I would probably do it if I would want to do it. So again, this video is not about a best practice, but rather a demonstration of how you could actually combine these two frameworks easily. I would write a proxy to the HTMX app and create an API around it with FastAPI. Okay, so if you've got questions, please let me know that in the comments. See you in the next video. Bye bye.